I'm back. I just started all over again, and there's a lesson in there somewhere, actually, which I will get on to. So, so this is take two of my live. So I'm just going to wait for people to find me, and that's okay, Jen. I tried to do what you said, but apparently when you're on a mobile, it doesn't show up, it doesn't give you the option to add as an admin. So I'll be my own admin tonight. I'll work out a way to do it later. But thanks for offering. So it's still getting used to the technology. So don't worry about it. It's not a problem. We will work around it. These are just part of the challenges that's in the title of the live that we can quite. So just give time for people to find me. Once again, everybody's put time to for people to find me. Everybody's probably given up, I think. Okay, so I was talking about how when you start the pagan path, it's the novelty factor is there, um, and you're full of excitement because of it's like a new uh, blank page ready to fill. Um, so um, and that's where the first challenge can come in that because you have a blank page, it's like, well, you want to fill it, but how do you fill it? What do you fill it with? And there's all kinds of possibilities that you can choose. So um and as I was saying in the previous attempt at the live, before things went wrong technically, um uh you don't get a set manual as this is how you begin, this is what you do. And yes, there are places you can look, you can research, read books, and follow teachings online and things like that, and talk to people. But there's nothing set down. It's not like because of the broad nature of being a pagan, and there's no absolute set way. Some people might say there is, but there isn't, because it's a broad umbrella of paths that you can follow, and each one is individual to the person following it. So my path is unique to me. So, the universe would have to hand down my own personalized, unique manual for how to live my particular path. Um, and some things I wish that the universe would do that, but that's not how it works. That's not how we find our path and walk our path. We have to learn step by step and find our way. So that is one of the challenges. It's one of the challenges I found when I began is where do I start? What kind of pagan do I want to be? And then you go into all kinds of things like, well, you know, do you count yourself as a witch for following the pagan path? Do you or do you have some other term to describe yourself? What's your path like? And that's a whole nother subject, as to labels, which I may do another video on, and describing your path and whether you actually need to describe your path. People want to put labels on things and put people into boxes, and so sometimes we might like to prefer that as well, but we don't have to. If there's no specific way of there's no set term, um, then don't 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 try and be forced into one. Just say I'm following my path. It's a spiritual path. I'm following it. It's unique to me. I mean, I might say that I'm learning to connect with the natural rhythms of things, the cycles of life, the natural world, nature, and all that kind of thing. And so that's like that nature-based sort of natural pagan pathway in a broadest sense. But trying to feel that connection with the universe and to everything and everyone within the universe. That's part of my path. Is there a label for that? I don't know. I don't identify, at least yet, with the term witch. It doesn't seem to fit me at the moment. There are witchy elements to my path. So, so in that sense, um, so, I think another one of the challenges that we can get bogged down in trying to work out how to describe our path, you know, um, and just saying that we're following our pagan path, our spiritual path is enough. If we want to adopt a term like witch or whatever, uh, that's also um, that's also great. So, I Shauna, good to see you, and everyone else that's found their way back. And so, the first one of the first challenges that I had at the beginning of my pagan path was everyone was talking about deities and everything like that. And having come from a previously Christian background, I wasn't yet ready to be part of working with deities and everything, and um, and that's okay. So that's another thing. Don't feel that just because other people are doing certain things, um, you you don't need to you don't need to feel that you have to um do those same things. If it's not the right time for you, if it doesn't fit for you right now, you do you. That's the first lesson I would say is everyone you do you. Do what you feel is right, and don't. One of the things that I've often fallen into is looking at others within the community and thinking, well, they seem to have it all together. They seem to have their path worked out. I don't. Should I be doing what they're doing? And the answer to that is, yeah, only if you feel it's right for you. Um, you know, it's that sense of that you feel that you should be doing something. And the challenge there is to not to, jump on the bandwagon because you feel you have to, because that's part of the path. That's part of their path, and it may become part of your path. Um, but there may be things that you need to do before you're ready for that part of it. So, and I know that working with deities, I had to go through a process of dealing with my perception and attitude and belief towards deity and divine energy until I got to the point where I was ready. So, um, basically, then I was ready to begin to, seek out my first deity, which happened to be Gaia, Mother Earth, which helped me to connect. And um, and as you know, and is still very much of an integral part of my practice of my life because it gives Gaia is the deity that gives me that sense of being rooted in who I am and having a sense of being belonging in this world and in this earth, and also helping me to connect with other aspects of this world, with other people, with nature. And and today's topic, Shauna, is first of all how to deal with the challenges of using StreamYard. And I've this is the second attempt at the live and then everything. So that's one of the challenges. But basically, it's the charms and challenges of a beginning pagan, and I'm basing it um, mainly on my experience because that's what I can speak from. Um, so that's the aspect of deity, and I've mentioned about Gaia giving me that sense of belonging, that sense of being rooted in the earth, and helping me to connect with the universe, with the world around me, people in it, with the nature, and everything around me to make those important connections that Jen is always talking about. And Gaia helps me with that, has become a very much part of that. And so, and Gaia is the one deity that I really naturally connect with, and have had no problem connecting with. The other deities that I have connected with, not they're a bit hard, been a bit harder, and I'm still trying to develop that relationship, and that's what's prompted this live in a way. Um, uh, because I've been thinking about it. And I tell you what happened. The two other deities that I have a connection with are Poseidon because of the ocean connection, the water connection, that kind of thing. And recently, Odin, I felt was trying to connect with me. Um, but over the past couple of days, on more than one occasion, I've had um, the representations I have on my altar for them. Two of the representations of each of them, I've found a way without me noticing, found the way off of the altar. Um, and so and that happened more than once. And even the little trident representation that I made to go with my dolphin image, um, that actually fell off and broke into pieces. And I made some humorous comment in the admin chat about, do you think they're trying to tell me something? And I got wondering if they were trying to tell me something. And I thought, well, are they saying that they've had enough of me and they want to leave? They want to leave my altar. They don't want to be there anymore. Um, you know, because I have found it difficult to know how to relate to them. Um, I've sort of known why Poseidon was there and the qualities he was going to bring, and um, but I was still working out why Odin was interested, and I thought, well, have they, you know, become impatient with me? So are they telling me that, well, we've waited long enough for you to get your act together? We're now off. Um, so I mean, it's a possibility, but I don't think so. I think they were just trying to grab my attention, um, because maybe things had dropped off a bit regarding my working with them. With a lot of things actually to my practice. The one thing is doing my daily draws with the tarot. That's been consistent, and I think when I look back, last year was a good. I mean, it was last year was a really good year. Began working with deities. I was began learning about new things, so I was experiencing that novelty um, aspect where things are exciting. You're learning stuff, and I was very much into the wheel of the year last year. That all the different sabbats that we have, and I was really relating to practically to most of them and learning and taking on. Um, this year, not so much. And I mean, yes, it's been a crazy year, hasn't it? 2020 has is a crazy year. And I think we have to put our present experiences into context of the craziness going around us, but it does have an influence. Um, but at the same time, I don't think it should be the ultimate deciding factor. It's the it's the framework within which we're working, obviously, what's happening in the world around us. But all part of being a pagan is learning to adapt to what's happening around us and learning how to work with the universe um, in an effective way with what's going on around us. To me, that's one of the advantages of this path is that it's supposedly the adaptability of it, and that we're not rigid in our thinking, and we can adapt and with the energies going on around us. And I think that's but that's also the challenge as well. So um, So I'm going off on a tangent there, but I'm just saying that I'm comparing this year so far with last year. And this year, my experience with the Wheel of the Year, the Sabbats and everything, is that I've not really connected with any single one of them so far, particularly the most recent ones. Um, it's just not been happening. And I've even um, forgotten about what a lot of them mean. Um, So I felt as if I'd been stepping back. I've even watched Jen's video on the Lunasa several times, and every time I finish watching it, if someone was to ask me, "So tell me about Lunasa now," it's like something to do with bread, wheat, um, and that's my limit. And what's the significance of Lunasa? I don't know. It's an harvest thing, but what it means to me now, I haven't got a clue. I'm not connecting with it. Now, last year I may have connected with it. I seem to recollect that I connected with most of the Sabbats, some more than others, but more than I have this year. So I'm just not connecting with it. Whether it's because of the disruption in the world that the natural cycles are a bit meddled with, and maybe we're finding it hard to connect with things because of the, the craziness, the chaos going around us. Maybe that's making it harder for us to connect, or maybe it's just me. Um, and on more than once this year, I've questioned whether I'm on the right path, and I've almost been in the process of walking away from it because of doubting my ability to be able to walk that path. Um, so yes, it feels off this year, doesn't it? And it's almost like, you know, not the normal way of things is not operating this year. So as I say, we perhaps need to learn to adapt. We keep talking about a new normal that we're supposed to be getting, to getting used to with how things are, and it's possible to adapt because I think this world has been through changes like this and new normals throughout its history. So you know, and it may be that just for this year, um, the Wheel of the Year, it doesn't hold quite the same significance. And yes, Sarana, that's right. You know, um, you feel pulled towards more traditional Egyptian holidays rather than the Wheel of the Year, and that's fine. That's brilliant. I don't know anything about that. I'm not drawn to that, but that's part of your path. That's brilliant. That's excellent. And that's the point. That's what I'm saying. That each person's path is different, which is both the beauty of it, but also it's the challenge of it because um, there isn't a set. As I say, there isn't a set manual that's applicable to everybody because all our paths are different. Um, so so but so that connection with, say with what's, with the Wheel of the Year and the Sabbats and everything, and we've got Lunasa coming up. I mean, Lifa just didn't happen for me at all, definitely. Imolk a bit earlier in the year, that did to some degree, but not with the same kind of meaning and connectedness that it did previously. So and I think it's important to realize, and this is what I've come to through thinking about this and talking this out right now. I mean, basically, this live, if I'm honest, is a therapy session for me, just talking to you all about it, because things are really getting on top of me. So I've let the cat out the bag there. But I hope people are relating to what I'm talking about. That we have moments where things seem to be going well. We're making progress on our path. We're connecting with it, and then there were times where, um, you know, it's not happening very much. We feel a bit disconnected from it. And I think what I would encourage, as I'm encouraging myself to realize, and I would encourage everyone else to realize, is that if that happens, it's okay. It does happen, but it doesn't mean that you're failing on your path, that your path is not working. It's just a tricky part of the path of the journey. Some journeys have smooth roads and everything, and we can make good progress. Other parts of a journey can be um, a bit more harder to navigate. The terrain's a bit more unfriendly. Um, so, um, you know, maybe if that's what we're feeling, we're just navigating that hard part of the journey for now. Uh, but it won't be forever. We just need to hang in there, keep going, and the terrain may smooth out again. And during those tough times and those dry times and those, times of feeling disconnected, they can be opportunities to grow more and to perhaps reassess. Sometimes it does us good to now and again to reassess why we're walking this particular path. Why what drew us to this path? You know, um, and if you know why, what drew you, and the purpose that you started on this path, and keep that in your mind, because that'll be still relevant to you. As hard as it gets, that will carry you through, the more difficult, tricky times. And maybe just go back to the basics of what drew you to that path. So maybe what I need to do is I need to go back to where I started with Guy, when I was outside, when where possible, go outside, go for a walk, connect with nature. You may have heard my experience with have the tree talking to me, uh, saying you need to be grounded and rooted, and that led me to working with Gaia, and I consecrated myself to Gaia, devoting myself to Gaia, sat down near a tree, and that was my experience. So maybe I need to go back to doing something a little bit like that. Go back to where you last were confident in what you were doing, because sometimes, certainly, that when you're trying to fill that blank page that I talked about earlier, when everything's new to you, um, sometimes you can try and fill it with too many things at once, because there's so many subjects, so many avenues that you could take, that you sort of want to explore them all, and you want to explore them all now. um, and sometimes you can get a bit overwhelmed. So, and sometimes that can create that little bit of, that can slow you down and drag you down a little bit. And maybe you just need to go back, step back a little. Stepping back a little isn't going backwards, actually. As daft as that sounds, to me, it's you're going back to that earlier point where you felt you were confident in what you were doing, but you're not actually starting again. You're going back to it with an improved viewpoint, because you've moved on in your understanding and you've learned a few things since then, good and bad. You've learned pitfalls, things that are good for you, things that are not so good for you, and you can go back to that time and with a new perception, with fresh eyes, and you may find in going back to that earlier step um, that you will see that in a new way, and that will give you a fresh impetus from where to as a springboard to moving forward again. So maybe going out and spending time in nature again, um, when it isn't teeming down with rain and having a thunderstorm like it has been today, where we're permitting, go connect in some way, just go out into the garden, stand outside, just feel the air, connect in that way. If that's what drew you, the fact of coming to that natural cycle, the natural world, and that's what drew you to this path. However you express your path, then go back to that and start with that. Um, you know, and but be patient with yourself, I think, and that's another challenge when you're beginning. That patience, as I said, you want to fill that blank page um, quickly with everything that you can. You want to learn everything. You want to learn you want to learn about connecting with spirit guides. You want to learn about all these deities. You want to learn about all kinds of divination. You want to learn about how to cast a spell, to do magic, and all these kind of things. And there's all the different things that you're involved. Um, so um, so what I'm saying is that just be patient with yourself, be gentle with yourself. Don't expect too much. Don't set too high a standard. I think this is what I've experienced. I think I've expected too much of myself. I'm comparing myself to other people because it's a new path. So how do you know if you're doing it well? How do you know if it's working for you? You know, we've had that expression, if it works for you, then it works. But how do you know it's working? Um, and what if it feels if it's not working, but maybe you're not seeing how well it is working? That's the other challenge, because sometimes we don't see the progress that we're making. We don't recognize how well that path is actually working for us. We may feel we're going into this region of feelings where you may think, well, I don't feel as if it's working, but we may not see exactly how much it's working for us. And I think that's where we need to perhaps, that's why we need to connect with one another so that we can support one another. And that's one important thing that I have come to realize is that even if we count ourselves as soul practitioners, that doesn't mean that we don't connect with others, because part of our practice is to make that connection with the universe and with other people, even if we do it from a solitary basis. We still have to make that connection. Um, so don't don't alienate yourself, don't isolate yourself, and don't be afraid to speak up if things aren't going well, um, because things don't always go well for us. And one of the things I have come to appreciate is that when I get when I feel able to share, as I'm doing now, some of the struggles and some of the challenges that we experience, I have found that other people will come and support you and give you tips and advice. They won't tell you what to do, hopefully, because no one can tell you what to do. That's the other challenge as well that I found as I began my path, is that you will find that reading certain books and listening to certain teaching, it's, well, this is the way you've got to do it. This is the right way of doing something. And and it's almost as like, well, it's this way or no way. It doesn't work any other way, which is very restrictive and isn't true. So you will perhaps get some people saying, you need to do this. Um, so you need to do it this way. You need you need to cast a circle to do this. You need to um, um, you need to have the right tools, um, and you need to point in the right direction, and you need to do it on the right day at the right time, and all this. Um, which, if you want to do that and you feel that's right for you, then go ahead, do it. Um, but if it doesn't feel right for you, don't feel bad. Don't feel the pressure that you've got to do it because you've read somewhere that somebody says that um, you have to do it, because you don't have to do anything. Um, it's one way of doing something, and if you read it and you find, yes, I quite like the idea of doing that, then do it. But if you don't, then find another way that suits you, that fits more with how you do things. That's my tip. Because I've become frustrated sometimes reading through something, wanting to learn, and I thought that can't be the only way of doing it. That seems a little bit. I don't connect with that way of doing it. Is there another way? And it's hard to find. When people say, no, you've got to do it this way, you've got to do it this way. Um, so it's finding your own way, and that is the challenge, as I said at the beginning, because we don't get that manual. As I said, in one way, it would be nice sometimes if the universe, um, you know, if the universe, spirit guide or something came down with a manual that's unique to you. This is your particular manual. This is like Stephen's path. This is how you got to walk it. This is what you've got to do. This is what's involved. It's all set out for you. It's all laid out for you. Um, yeah, it'd be nice in some ways, but it doesn't work like that. And I think there's a reason it doesn't work like that is because that's only if you had a set out plan to form. This is what you do at this time. This is what you do at this time. And it's all set out in black and white. And you will just go, okay, so now at this moment I'm supposed to be doing this. Okay, fine, this time of my life. And it misses out the process of working through that connection and in building your intuitive muscles, your spiritual muscles of connection, trying to find the way through your path. It is work. It can be hard, but there's a reason for that. Is because it's like spiritual exercise for your soul. It like strengthens you, and it transforms you, builds you up through the very process of seeking out what your path involves and what's right for you. If it was all laid out for you very simply, too easily, you wouldn't have the challenges of finding that out that will help you grow. And certain things that are going to be along your path, you can only receive, you know, um, you can only receive when you're at the point that you have built up enough strength and you've made yourself a suitable vessel to receive that particular thing. If you if you haven't gone through that building, growing process, um, and you stay as you are, but you know that you're sooner or later you're getting to the point where this is coming into your life, and that thing comes into your life, and you've not gone through that growth process through working through your path. It will come into your life, but you won't be the adequate vessel to be able to hold it, and it will all fall apart. You won't be able to cope with that coming into your life. So I think that's the reason why we have to search through and work through our path, because it builds us up through our experience. So um so what I'm saying, and it's getting close to oh, this live's only been on for just over half an hour. So I was going by the whole time. So I hope everybody's still with me, and I hope it's useful. I mean, please, I'm trying to look at your comments as well, and you're making some very good points, as well. That yes, it's that growth aspect of work. The universe wants us to work through our path for that reason, um, and and it takes time and it takes effort. And I know one one of the things that I need to remind myself consistently on a day-to-day basis is don't be hard on yourself, be patient with yourself, and you know, just keep going and do what little bit you can. If it's not much, don't feel bad. And if you can't do anything on a particular day, if you're not going to meditate on a particular day, even if you don't want to do a tarot draw on a particular day, that hasn't happened yet. Actually, that has kept me going. So I'm thankful for tarot being such an integral part of my path and doing my daily draws. That is the thing I've most consistently done for a long time now. And you know, that so and but other people that may not be a factor that will help them have that consistency. That's just what's part for me, and I've found that works for me. Other things, meditation, working with your deities, and other things like that. Um, that By Selkie, yes, it is getting a bit late now, but I'm going to keep going just a bit longer. But if people need to go to bed or whatever, or need to go and do something else, that's fine. Um, so, um, it's you find what you connect with the most, and that will be the thing that is your anchor in difficult times. If it's connecting with tarot, if that helps you, fine. If doing other things like going out doing walks in nature, or other practices that you can do, you tend to connect with even when you're in these dry spots and things are a little bit much for you. That little thing that just keeps you connected, that you're almost hanging in there by your fingertips. Um, find that you can find that can be your anchor in the difficult times. So, because there will be difficult times. Um, the main challenge is I am still finding my way on this pathway, finding out what kind of path this is for me, what my purpose is, what, um, and why am I finding it sometimes so frustrating? And I know that a lot of it is to do with my own personality, my own experiences in past experiences, and some of the mental strongholds in my mind, how think perceptions from previous ways, of that's the challenge, trying to change your perception sometimes. I know the part of it is in me, but I also feel like everybody seems to be getting along their path really smoothly, and I'm sure it's not as smooth as what it sometimes appears. um so but I think perhaps part of my path is to experience some of these frustrations and not to find it so easy to make the connections. Um, and I think the universe is like saying you need to go through this time because part of your path will be to help others and to get alongside others who may be finding it difficult to do that. And if you've been through these difficulties, you can understand where people are coming from and help them. So maybe that's part of my path further down the line, and I'm going through this time. So if there's a purpose behind these sense of frustrations and why can't I connect in that way? Why don't I work with energy in that way? Why don't I do magic in that way. It seemed to have a very unconventional pagan path in some ways. But then again, as I said earlier, the pagan path is a very broad umbrella, and all kinds of paths come under it. So, is there a conventional sort of path? Is a common one that perhaps we see, but if mine doesn't match that, doesn't I need to get frustrated. And if yours doesn't match that, doesn't matter. If it's your true path, if you're being your true self, if it's what you are feeling drawn to do, it doesn't matter if it fits in with anything else or fits a particular pattern. Just do you, and it will work out. And as I say, keep those connections and ask questions. Um, you know, um, no matter how daft the question sounds. I mean, some of the questions that go through my head, um, you know, probably sound really silly, and I've asked some of them, to people, and but if and some of them I haven't. So, but don't be afraid to ask questions. Only daft question is the one you don't ask. When you're learning, when you're starting out, particularly, you know, people shouldn't really expect you to know everything, and it may be something that a lot of people know, but you don't know because you're new. Um, and it may be a question that nobody's considered before. And sometimes it's good to have something raised from a different, from a person's perspective that we've not considered before. And sometimes questions are helpful. um, you know we may have come from past experiences where questions were discouraged, but I would certainly encourage questions about what's going on. That's part of the charm of the path, is being able to say, well, what's going on here, and how do we adapt to this, and how do we connect to the universe in this way, and how do we use this to grow and to help one another. So um, so there we are. So I don't know if I've stuck to the title of the Charms and Challenges of a Beginning Pagan. I hope I have. I know I didn't have a set. I just had the title as a starting point, and I just wanted to spend some time just talking out loud, sharing with you know um, the community, my thoughts, my thinking, and um, and it certainly helped me feel better about things. And I hope it's encouraged you in the sense of, that even if there are difficult times happening at the moment and you may not be feeling your path in the same way as that you once did, um, it's just a part of the journey. It's not it's not a new destination. It's just you're passing through this part, and you'll move through it onto another part. So just keep going, persevere. There are always the wonderful, exciting parts to any path. There are also the challenging, nitty-gritty parts to any path, no matter what path you follow. But the key thing is to keep that faith in the universe, in yourself, and in one another. And together, we'll be able to move forward and grow together. So I think that is an appropriate place to end. I hope you've enjoyed the live. I can see positive comments. Um, and I may do another live. I'll do, this is actually inspired me now to giving me the confidence now to open up and perhaps do some more videos about expanding on the little bits that I've talked about tonight in more detail. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for persevering with the technical issue I had at the beginning when I was trying to do something, and it more or less cancelled out the our previous live, and I had to start again. And sometimes, and I said it would be an important lesson, and that's the point. That's the challenge. Sometimes we do something, we do it quite right, and if it doesn't work out, then start again, go back, and keep going. You know, we will have setbacks, we will have technical issues, we'll have glitches in our path, but they're only temporary, and we can reboot, reset, and move on. So let's keep going. Good night, everyone, and thank you for being with me. Okay, bye bye.